You're listening to the Career Plus Life Catch-Up, episode number 78. Welcome to the Career Plus Life Catch-Up, a show anchored in reality to help you create a balanced life where you enjoy both your work and your life, because you don't have to choose. I'm your host, Cecile Ferry, a corporate executive turned coach and working mom. This is your place for insights, advice, and tools to optimize your career direction, balance, and confidence. I'm so glad you're here. Let's get into it. Hello, my beautiful friends, and welcome back to the podcast this week. Thank you for being here. I hope you're well as you're listening to this podcast. If you're listening live, we are at the beginning of October, and I can't believe we are like 3/4 into the year. But I'm excited too, because I don't know you, but I feel like there's really a really good shift of energy happening at the moment. I'm really looking forward to this month and the next few, because I just feel there's been so much happening in the last couple of years, right? And I feel a lot of us, most of us really have been pushing quite hard to try to, I won't say recover from the pandemic, but the world hasn't been the same since, and it's been pretty hard. And I feel like we are just slowly moving out of that phase. So maybe it resonates with you, and maybe it's just a way to say, hang in there if it's tough right now, because better times are coming. I think things are looking up. So let this be a message of hope for you today. All right, back to the topic today. I decided to give you like an espresso shot of my sort of favorite career truth. The idea for this podcast came to me as I was coaching last week. Throughout the different sessions that I have, I find myself saying the same things or getting to the same insights with very different clients, and I start using sentences like, oh yeah, I always say this to my clients. And I started thinking, right, that's a great opportunity to do a podcast. What are all those things that I quote unquote always say? And I know it's going to make me sound like an old career coach. I have been doing this now for a bit over 6 years. So I do have quite a lot of experience and skin in the game, and things obviously coming back. But I'm also no expert. I don't want you to start thinking that there I am and I've got it all figured out. No, but what I'm going to share today, I stand very firmly and strongly about. I know it, for me, it's the truth. So some of those might be new things for you. Maybe there are things you're starting to see, and that's going to crystallize it for you. But it's definitely a really worthwhile episode to listen to, because you're going to learn so much in a short amount of time. So I've got 15 career truths for you, and they are in no particular order. I'm just going to go through them like a normal conversation. And as usual, like if you do like what you're listening to, please share this episode with your friends, with your colleagues, with people who can benefit from having that kind of information that may not be existing out there otherwise. So I'm really grateful if you can share the podcast, if you can review it, if you like it, if you find it's giving value to your life, because even just you tapping on those little stars in the rating section allows this podcast to be shared and to be seen by other people. And I don't control that, but you do have a way to influence it. So in advance, a big thank you from me. All right, are we ready? We're going to get into 15 career truths. Let's get into it. Okay, so truth number 1, and actually it's related to how you start a job. So when you start in a new job or you're returning to work, whatever it is, new start the way you mean to continue on. By that I mean the habits and the way that you show up and how you work at the beginning into a new job is what people are going to get used to and are going to know you for. So I always say to my clients, here you go, don't start a certain way that is not authentic to you or that doesn't feel like a way you want to keep going on with over the long term. Because, as I said, people get used to that, and it's so much harder for you to change the perception of you in the workplace or your working habits down the track, because you feel like people are used to you being a certain way. So I think we don't always think that way, because when we start a new job, we're like, we want to impress, we want to do well, we're excited. Sometimes we may have a bit of imposter syndrome, so we're trying to compensate. So we may not be doing exactly the same things as what we would do kind of more in the middle of our job, if that makes sense. So watch out, because as I said, those habits are much harder to break for yourself, even if you want to later down the track. So what habits am I talking about? Typically, the kind of working hours that you do, or how often and how much you're checking emails, especially outside of hours and on weekends, how quickly will you respond to people. I give that advice to a lot of the women returning to work after having a child and often working part-time. So this is specifically if you're a part-timer, because it's very tempting at the beginning when you get back to work at part-time to give a little more, because you sometimes feel quote-unquote bad that, you got given special treatment, you think, because you have flexibility and you have the hours that suit you. And sometimes you compare versus other people that have full-time jobs, and you're like, ooh, I'm lucky here. And, and we tell ourselves, well, I don't mind. I'll just log in for a little while just on my day off, just to see and check everything is under control. So the correct truth here is, if you start doing that, if this is how you show up in the first couple of weeks in your job, this is what is going to be expected of you. And this is going to be kind of what people know you for. And it's going to be very hard to break it. So especially if you're part-timer, when you start, stick to the way you mean to continue. Correct truth number 2. At the end of the day, businesses care about dollars, not you. Sorry to break that to you if you don't fully believe it or you don't want to believe it, but that is the truth. That is what corporations are about. And you are replaceable. You are just a person that helps them making money. And it's kind of two ways, right? It's not just they all take from you. What you get in reverse is you get a stable income every month, no matter what. This is the deal of a corporate job. You can work for yourself. In that case, you don't have them, just being focused on money, because it's your business and it's for you, the money. But on the other hand, you don't have the stable income, right? So this is the game. This is the deal. Companies won't provide you with a stable income, but at the end of the day, it means they only care about their profit. And as long as you're clear on the game and on the rules of the game, you don't get as hurt or as attached to certain things in the workplace that may not realistically be there. Okay, correct truth number 3. Good managers want you to grow and outgrow your role. They are fine with you leaving. Do you know people like that? I hope you do. I hope you've been lucky to meet some of those. I have. It's not the majority of managers out there, maybe not, but a good manager will seek to support your growth and your development beyond their own interest. And it's possible, it's rare, but when you find one, be grateful for it. And if you're a manager, this is what you need to work on, letting go of your staff. Your job is to make them so good that they're ready for the next step. And likewise, if you have a manager that is clinging onto you, that is kind of saying, yeah, they're doing the tick the box development plan exercise, but they don't want you to go anywhere, or they tell you so because they need you so bad, those are not good managers. Though that's the managers that you need to get away from, and you need to find other people in the organization that are going to sponsor you to grow. Carrot truth number 4. Never go backwards in salary unless you are changing career path. I am really, really big on that rule. And I have followed it all my career, in all my corporate job. I have never gone backwards. And I never advise that for anyone, especially if it's kind of same job, same level, side steps. No way in my book. And I always say that to my clients. So there you go. Why is that? I believe that the salary you're at is your value, it's your capital, it's your equity. Why would this go down when you move from one company to another? You do not lose that value. You just take it with you. So to me, it's a non-negotiable. Sometimes some companies really can't and have budgetary consideration, but that's like 1% of the time that those things cannot be changed. I have seen over and over ways that you can negotiate, you can find ways, you can bridge what you are on and what they're prepared to pay, even if it's the form of other things like paid leave or bonuses or stock, whatever it is. But your compensation, your value, you should never go and accept less. You shouldn't go backwards. And that is really good for you anyway, because I want you to get more and more. It's so much harder to grow in salary within a company, within the same job, getting pay rises. So your best chance is really when you hop from one job to the next. That you therefore, this is when you want to have the biggest leap in salary. And there is no rule how big the leap, by the way. But always go up and forward in salary. So since we're talking about hopping and jumping from job to job, this is career truth number 5. Don't jump ship too early. Have something lined up, or at least have a clear plan. So if you've been with me, I would hope that you know that. But when I started my career as a career coach, that wasn't the case around me. And I was guilty of that myself too. I've done that when I was probably late 20s. I hated my managers so much that I quit that job because I couldn't stand being there. Lucky I had some savings. Lucky I didn't have kids to pay for. I didn't have a mortgage to pay for. But looking back again, I wouldn't do that. So I know it's very tempting because we need relief from the situation at play, but this is where we need to arm ourselves with resilience and work really hard on an exit strategy. And when I say hard, work quickly, efficiently, and strongly suggest hiring a career coach, because that will help you see what you can't see and help you to really get that plan happening. And you will be out of that job, but it will be managed properly. So I do that with a lot of my clients at times. So don't jump ship. Have a plan and make sure you know how much money you need and you have a bit of an idea how you're going to navigate if you are out of work. Because trust me, the stress of having to sort out your finances on top of sorting out your job situation is a lot. So resist the urge to jump ship. If you're really at that point, get the help of a career coach if you can't get the plan by yourself. And that will get you safely out of one job into the next. Career truth number 6. You may have heard this one before from me. You are in charge of your professional development, not them. Not your company, not your boss, not HR, not training companies. You, especially in 2023 and beyond, this is when you really need to take ownership of it. I talked about it in the last podcast episode on development plan. Go and check it out if you haven't yet. You really need to own and drive this process yourself, because that's how you're going to get the best result. And companies don't have the bandwidth. Managers really don't. I'm sure you've noticed. And they focus on many other things. Making money being number one, as I said. But also now a lot more rules around employee relations, well-being, health and safety. So that's where all the HR people are focusing. There is a bit of training because there's budget and you have to do it, but it may not be relevant to you. So no one else knows better than yourself. And then you've got to sell that to your manager, whatever it is that you want to get done, whatever training and support that you need, if you need coaching, what you need it for. Like, you have to go and fully barrack for yourself. So let me ask you this right now, like, do you know where you're going professionally? Are you spending time investing and thinking about those questions, about your professional future, about the skills that you need, about where you're going to? If you haven't done that yet, no stress. Maybe start with listening to episode number 77, which is a really good first step into that. So remember, it's your journey and you are the pilot. Carry through number 7. Work is mostly invisible. Yes, work is intangible. It's mostly invisible unless you share it and present it. Don't expect rewards just because you've done it. That is a hard truth sometimes to swallow. And some of us are aware of that truth because we have actually suffered from this, because we've worked really, really hard and we know all the value that we delivered. And at the end of the day, we didn't get the credit for it, or we didn't get recognized for it, or we didn't feel like we got compensated for it. And that's a bad, harsh feeling. So I'm giving you the truth because I want you to be prepared and not do that. This especially applies to all of us out here that are working bees, that like to do good work. Be very mindful. You can do the best work, but unless you share it, unless you talk about it, unless it has visibility, no one knows about it and no one really cares. You care so much, but you can't just care in your ivory tower. So make sure you share everything worthwhile that you do. Even if you haven't been asked, just be happy to, because other people will benefit from it and you inspire other people to share it. And then you're not going to be the one sitting here expecting that one day this will all pay off, because trust me, I've seen it myself. I've coached a lot of people, and women especially with that. And it doesn't transpire most of the time. You don't get that. You don't get the hoo-ha. You don't get the pay rise that you think you deserve. So it's up to you again to speak up, share what it is that you do, because always remember, otherwise work is quite very much invisible. Career truth number 8. This one is for job seekers, but it can be for anyone, because let's face it, it happens to quite a lot of us at times to be job seeking. And the truth is simple. It is the job you seek is seeking you. This is a very good reminder, because when we start looking for a job, we tend to feel quite like heavy and sometimes discouraged from the beginning, because we feel like we're only focusing on we're seeking a job. We're not focusing on the other half of the equation, because a job is a match between you and a company. And if you can get your head around that you're only doing a half of the journey, and there's another half that will be done by a company because they're seeking someone, or there will be an opportunity where they're going to need some skills and you're going to come in. This is the metaphor I really like to use. This is when you're looking for a job, you're looking for that, you're doing your half. So the job you seek is also seeking you. And that puts you in a very different energy, less graspy, less needy, less desperate, and less, pessimistic. Like, oh my God, there's no jobs out there and all of that I hear. No matter what year we're in. So clearly it's not happening. So remember, you are seeking a job and the job is seeking you. The goal is to find that job that is seeking you, to find that perfect alignment. And so until you do, it's not right. So just have faith and trust in the process. Current truth number 9, since we were talking about job search, your LinkedIn profile is your career window. So you need to attend to it regularly and ongoingly. So what I see a lot of clients do is they they set up their LinkedIn profile when they're looking for a job. They get into a job, and for 3.5 years, nothing happens on their LinkedIn profile. The thing is, your LinkedIn profile is your online professional identity. And if you don't attend to it, if you don't make it evolve with yourself, and you just pick it up for 2 weeks, once every 3 or 4 years, you're missing out on a lot of potential opportunities. So you're not dead professionally in between. So I really encourage you to start thinking about LinkedIn that way. It is your alive, personal, professional brand. So attend to it. Give it some love and care over the years, even if you are employed. And I can show you and help you how if we work together. Career truth number 10. This one is a hard one too. Redundancies are usually a blessing in disguise. I coach a lot of people that have been made redundant. It's part of some contracts that I have with organizations every week. I speak to people that have been let go. And there's all sorts of circumstances. Sometimes it's done better than others. Sometimes it's the biggest shock ever. Sometimes things were not going well for sometimes. It doesn't matter. I've seen all shapes and forms and people and life situation and gender, everything, culture, industry, the whole lot. For everyone that I have coached in that situation, things have turned out fine, and sometimes even better. I talk about this in the podcast on career redirections. In this podcast, I don't know the episode number, so go and search it for yourself. It's called Career Journeys and Redirection. So that is a career truth. And so if it happens to you tomorrow or next month or next year, remember that. They are usually a blessing in disguise. They are not easy, far from it, but they turn out for your highest good in general. So just remember that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, there is a lesson there, and there is often a change for the better. Career truth number 11. This is for anyone who has a job. Do the top 3 things. That is a big motto of mine. And when I say the top 3 things, the top 3 most visible things. I have applied that rule to myself in a lot of my jobs once I worked it out. And it is a recipe for success, my friend, in any job. And the best managers, the best leaders, the most successful high achievers in professional business know this. And if you can't articulate right now the top 3 most visible things in your job, then I will just start there and do that before you start tackling your whole to-do list. Not everything matters. In fact, about 3 things matter at all time. If you have your eyes on that, if you focus on that and you do them well and you communicate and share about that, you're going to do really well. This is what your managers expect of you, not the whole list. So know your top 3 at all times and do that. And especially if, for instance, you're going through a hard time personally or at home, or things that impact potentially your productivity, your mental availability for work, your well-being, whatever it is, focus on the top 3 and everything will be fine. So I hope this is a clear takeaway you can take from today, and focus on your top 3. And you should know where they are. And they change all the time once they're done. But you need to know those top 3 things and not try to hit everything else. Career truth number 12. Have the facts for a pay rise. So there's a bit of TLC in that truth here for all of you and my lovely clients. I get asked that quite a lot. I see clients coming to me saying, well, I really want a pay rise. And I say, why is that? And I hear, well, because I've been in my job for now 2 years or 3 years, or my friends or other people have had one around me. We sometimes feel we deserve one. It is different from preparing and building the case for one. So pretty much what I'm saying is it's not enough to think that you deserve one. You really need to have the fact, and you need to tell your boss, managers, organizations why they should give you a pay rise. Remember, they're there to earn money, to maximize profit. So why should they pay you more? You need to explain. So you need to look at different things. I'm pretty sure I've done a podcast on this too. At the start of the podcast, probably within the first 10, 20 episodes, about knowing your worth and asking for it. I, in that episode, cover a lot of the strategies and things you can do to have those facts. So just know it's not enough to want one, to think you deserve one. You need to build the case. And this is a very tangible thing. Career truth number 13. You can create your own role. I love that one because I have applied it to myself at least 3 times in my career. So it is absolutely possible. And I think we forget that. I'm not saying you can do it anytime, anywhere, but it's a very strong possibility. And to be honest, sometimes even probability. So you need to keep that in mind. If what you want to do, and I talk about that in the development plan podcast, sometimes we just limit ourselves to what is already there. I always say start with what it is that you want to do, and then you can create it. And so I've seen clients doing it. I've done it myself. So take it as the truth. The job that you really want may not exist right now around you. That doesn't mean you can't create it, have it, and being in it. And it's actually quite fun at the end of the day, because the day you are that, you feel so proud and it just fits you to a T. So keep that in mind and think always creatively in terms of the needs of the business, in terms of your skill set and where you want to go. And sometimes how to solve that is by creating something new. And I personally find that much easier to sell to the company sometimes than you trying to fit into a box that's not yours. And what's the worst can happen? They can say no, but at least you try. So always keep that in mind. It is a very strong possibility for you to create your own role. Career truth number 14. Always make your manager look good. I know, not fun, hey? But that is one I always stick by wherever I go, even if your manager is not nice. Even if your manager you think is incompetent, even if, and the list can be long, all the things you feel negatively towards your manager, or you feel they don't deserve that, or they've burned your trust, or they've taken the credit for your work, or they treated someone poorly that you value around the office, right? They are human beings. They're not perfect. I'm sure you can think of a couple of things you don't like about your manager, but they are your manager. As long as you are in a corporation, this is the pecking order. So even if they're like bullies, it's really tough. But I've done it. I've done the wrong thing. I have made my manager look bad. And that didn't really give me anything. That didn't give me anything positive. That impacted my career future. That impacted even how I felt in my job in the company, because then you feel pretty bad, even if you know that you're right. So I would say it's best to maintain a positive relationship than to be right. I'm not saying that you're not right, but you have to choose. And when you're working, choose the alignment over being right. And I'm not saying either go fully the other way and completely shower them with fake admiration or things like that. Not at all. You know what I mean? When you are faced with a situation where you could be saying something or doing something that will make them look bad, do not do it. And that also means in other times when you have the ability, save their ass. I have been doing that regularly during my career, and I'll do it tomorrow again, because that always pays off positively for you. So if you have the opportunity to, don't knife them, don't push them down, and even actually try to help them. That will pay back tenfold for you. And we are at Career Truth number 15, and I actually like to finish with that one, is you shouldn't slave away at work. Hello, anyone with me here? I know you know, but a lot of us need to be reminded of that a lot of the time. We still live in times of workaholism where people push themselves and work way too much and they slave away. And again, they're hoping to reap the reward, or, this is linked to a lot of patterns within themselves. And if that's you, I can help you. This is the core of what I do in my career coaching work, is help you understand your conditioning, your identity, the reason why you kind of feel you can't help it. And even though it's detrimental to you, you still do it. Right, there are reasons for that. You're not stupid. You're doing things, so you need to understand why you do what you do. But my firm belief and my truth is, yes, we need to work. Yes, at times we need to work harder, but we shouldn't slave away. And we certainly shouldn't slave away for a longer period of time. And that's where all the burnout problems are happening. So I just want to leave you with that final truth, that this is the norm. And the norm as in what is natural and what is right for human beings. It is not the norm with what you see out there, because we're completely in an abnormal situation with that. People are overworking and they're stretching the hours, and it's gone worse post-COVID, and now they're taking more work. We need to go back to a better balance where we still earn money, we still deliver value, but we don't slave away. It's not easy. A lot of companies are really tight for resources and will load you up with work. They are the companies you don't really want to work for, and go and find another place that will give you more balance. So remember, that is the truth. That is the equilibrium, and this is what you should aim for. Alright, my friends, these were the 15 career truths. I really hope that you enjoyed them. I hope they sparked some light bulbs in you, that you got lots out of it. It was actually really fun for me to do, because it's so easy for me to talk about all those topics, because I live and breathe them in my coaching business every week. So please share this episode, as I said, if it resonated, because a lot of people need to hear that advice. So I really hope this resonated with you, and you can take some, and maybe they start making you think about what else do you want to learn in that space. And if you've been thinking about coaching, I do have some spot between now and Christmas, but they will fill up. So go on my website at careercatchup.com, have a look at the coaching offers that I have there. There's lots of different ways you can work with me. Some is just a one-off, some is a series of sessions. You can tailor it to what you need, and we can talk about it before you go ahead. So highly encourage you to take the plunge if you've been thinking about it, because you want those career truths to become reality for you. All right, my friend, wishing you all a beautiful week, a beautiful month of October, plenty of great new things coming your way in your Career Plus life. I'll talk to you soon. Bye, everyone. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to find out more information, you can visit my website at careercatchup.com. There you will find blog articles, free resources, a self-study course for your career direction, and ways to work with me. It's at careercatchup.com. I hope to continue to connect with you and support you. Talk to you soon.